Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, race number 8 at Del Mar on Saturday, the Grade 2 San Clemente Stakes. 3-year-old fillies going a mile on the turf. You can play this race and the card. Catalina Cruiser earlier on in the San Diego with a DRF Bets account. Sign up, learn how to access $150 in risk-free wagers. Let's meet the field for the Grade 2 San Clemente. This is a very competitive bunch. It is a full field. It should be a fun betting race. I want to talk a little bit about the horse down towards the inside, the number 1, Keeper of the Stars. Look at the short comment for the last race. Broke 17-year record. If you're a fan of Keeper of the Stars, you are not happy with the chart caller because you just got knocked down a point or two, especially when you look at the buyer of 84.
I don't mean this in a bad way. I usually don't look at the short comments, but that one just stood out to me. I go, I've never seen anything like that. Just let's advertise to everyone that she's just breaking track records at 8.5 furlongs. Look, she went out there. She's won all of her races in Gates of Wire fashion. She's done it against lesser foes. You have to respect Jonathan Wong, first time with this filly in his barn. Boy, from a dynamic standpoint, isn't there a lot of other speed in this race that could potentially work against her? From the inside, I think she has to go beneath Bejarano. Maybe she's going to be able to just outfoot everyone early on and take him gate to wire. I think that's a really tall order, a tall task.
But she's won 3 in a row for a barn that's close to 30%. You might be right about that pace projector. Let's throw up the time form U.S. pace projector. Fast pace expected in here. Let's talk about some of the speeds. On the outside is Kaliniki, who took to turf like a duck to water. And who knew? Not many. 54-1 that day for a daughter of Broken Vow. But it's worth noting that in that race, she was just able to coast on the lead. It was all out to hold on. This time around, I'm thinking she's going to have to do it a different way.
You know, this is me, nothing more than me trying to draw conclusions, and there's no common ownership. But Michael McCarthy has another filly in this race that we'll talk about. There's a part of me that wonders. I know Flavian Pratt seems crazy that he would be on a horse potentially used as a tactical weapon, as a rabbit. I have a funny feeling maybe she's in here to ensure that the pace is legitimate.
Devil's Dance, the number 4, should ensure that the pace is legitimate. Gate to wire winner at 5 furlongs last time out. Stretching out for the first time. Again, this apprentice jockey just got to probably put the pedal to the metal. The problem is, if you're going to put the pedal to the metal, now you're dealing with Keeper of the Stars. Now you're dealing with Serenitza. Now you're dealing with Kaliniki. And now you're dealing with others. Tough spots stepping up and stretching out.
Yeah, and that's always that sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't situation where you have to go. That's your best asset, your speed. If you put all the other speeds away, good on you. Now you got to deal with the horses coming from off of it. Seems like a lot.
2 in a row for Harmless, who looks like she has finally found herself. She handled the 2 turns last time out with aplomb at Golden Gate Fields, but that race was over a synthetic surface, and you look at those fractions for a mile, and I don't care what track it's on. You get the half and 48.2 on the lead. You're supposed to win that race. It's going to be a faster situation for her, and now she has to prove that she can rate and finish.
Yeah, it just seems like, again, a tall order for her to be able to potentially be forwardly placed with a much faster pace, put the other speeds away, hold off the closers. This distance, I think part of the reason she handled it as well as she did is because of what you said. She walked out there on the front end. The field hasn't come back all that great. I know the runner-up was a next out winner, only earned a 64 buyer on dirt. Harmless isn't for me.
Serenitza, the number 2, is a horse that can be forwardly placed as well. Gate to wire winner of the maiden score, 3 starts back at Gulfstream. Ran on the Sanibel Island, got a little bit tired when unable to make the lead. First start for Neil Drysdale, sat, attacked, tired. 2 things worked against her in that race, Matt. I think the 1 1/8, a little bit too far. I think Lady Prancelot, a little bit too good.
Yeah, I agree with both of those things. And it really wasn't a terrible effort for this horse in the honeymoon. Now, maybe you could argue a little bit of a lesser group in here without the likes of Lady Prancelot or Hostess. Having said that, I still think she'll need to take a slight step forward, not out of the realm of possibility, but to date, she's 1 for 9, couple of minor awards. I don't want her.
Maxim Rake beat Lady Prancelot 2 starts back in the Senorita going this distance. She was real game in between horses to win that race. She was favored over Lady Prancelot last time out on the honeymoon, and she kind of got a little bit tired at the end of this race. From a pace standpoint, things are looking up for Maxim Rake.
I mean, this should be a beautiful setup, shouldn't it? Whether she comes from a little bit farther back or she's willing to sit a length or 2 off of the pace, depending on how it ends up shaking out. She should work out arguably the trip of the trips in this race. From an overall standpoint, I don't know that I've seen a tremendous amount of improvement from start 1 to start 4. Doesn't mean that she can't take another step forward here in the middle of her 3-year-old campaign, but I think she needs to. And at a short price, I don't know that I'm terrified of her.
Apache Princess, the number 5, reeled off 3 straight at the end of last year, the beginning of this year, now has 3 consecutive losses. Probably worth noting that those 3 wins came sprinting. And maybe Apache Princess, who, while on paper it looks like she's going to get the pace she needs to run at, I wonder if she's a one-run, late-running sprinter.
And the other thing for me, I just look at it and say 9 lifetime starts. She has actually regressed from a numbers standpoint from her 2-year-old season. And look, we see it sometimes. Sometimes they trend on, sometimes they don't. I haven't seen anything that would indicate that she is ready to move on and taking a step forward. I don't want her.
Stillwater Cove was entered at Saratoga on Friday. It appears she will scratch and run here. It's an East Coast invader in a West Coast turf race, which means you automatically have to pay attention. I think there are some distance questions to address, although this filly has shown some ability in her career and had a lot of trouble last time out in the Soaring Softly.
I don't question the ability. I think she stacks up really favorably against this group. And you made it mention at the top, it's a very wide open competitive group. I'm terrified of the distance. I just don't know that this is really going to be to her benefit. The only time they tried her going longer, I have in my comment, I know she was relatively close to a hot pace in the Natalma, but I have written that she needs shorter. I don't think that's what her game is. Maybe at a short price, you can take a shot against her.
Let's take a look at our top selections in the San Clemente. Matt, you like the 6 overemphasized. And I'm kicking myself because I was going to pick overemphasized and I wavered and waffled as I always do. And I decided to go with the 3 instead, that being Macho Unusual. Overemphasized his last 2 races. You want to talk about trouble? Things were working out great in both of those races. Saving ground, everything was going right. But when she tries to come out in the stretch, it always seems like she's stuck behind horses and has to alter course. And just when that momentum gets stopped, she can't recover. With a clean trip here and a fast pace, if I'm Alonso Quinones, I'm not saving ground. I'm staying at the back, and I'm coming widest, and I'm hoping this filly kicks for me.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate for me because I liked her in the honeymoon. Yeah. I picked her, and it was one of those things. She just kind of got hemmed in there, and she wasn't able to get out. Now, I don't know that it would have made the difference. I don't know that she was going to beat Lady Prance a lot that day. I think she would have been a heck of a lot closer than 2 1/4 lengths, though. And finally, I went back and forth in this race between the 6 and the 3, Mucho Unusual. I finally just looked at overemphasized and said, you know what? I think the pace is going to be there. I think perhaps she do get another forward move. And I don't think she's run poorly in any of her turf starts. I want to give her another look in here. But 6 and 3, those are the 2 big ones for me.
And you'll get a price on her as well one more time in this race. Mucho Unusual is where I went. Gate to wire winner in the Cal Cup Oaks turf debut. Showed the versatility last time out. First race off a little bit of a layoff where she had a really nice trip under Flavien Prat. The inside opened up. She shot right on through to win by a head. The trip was fine. I think the pace scenario is going to be good for her. She's proven it a mile. She just makes a lot of sense. I'm worried about the price. I'm going 3, 1, 6, and 2, but using a lot of the 6 as well in any kind of multiple race wager. It's the Grade 2 San Clemente. It's the co-feature at Del Mar on Saturday. Get involved with the DRF Bets account and the $150 in risk-free wagers that come along with it. Approximate post time for the San Clemente, 5:30 Pacific. Best of luck.